Hey, friends, going live with the man, the myth, the legend, Todd Davis, to get all his insights on Vance Joseph's defense, what needs to get better from last year, what personnel battles going into camp could really make or break that unit. Tune in. Going live now. Welcome in, friends, to the DNVR Broncos Podcast. This is Andre Simone doing my best to do a Zach Stevens imitation. Of course, we are brought to you in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Join us in the Toyota chat on this beautiful Wednesday that feels like a Friday, Todd, because 4th of July tomorrow. What's the tradition in the Davis household?
It's definitely a Friday for me. I'm counting it as my Friday.
You got to, man. Yeah.
I think I got 3 Saturdays in a row and then Sunday.
Yeah, there you go.
But normally just, having a good time, every little barbecue. Couple fireworks for the kids, of course.
Right.
May be able to make a trip up to Wyoming to get some really good ones. But
whoa.
Yeah.
You're that
I'm not
dad,
bringing them back,
huh?
but you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to make a trip, go see what they look like and then come.
Oh, man. You're that dad. You're committed to the drive up to Wyo.
Yeah. It'd be a good time.
That's a move right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Love to hear that. Love being able to do this show with you today, Todd. Hank and Zach, I guess they needed even more than 4 days.
Yeah,
huh?
come on, like really need a 5-day weekend.
Some people, yeah. And when you podcasted your whole professional career, life gets pretty easy. We've actually had hard-working jobs, you and me, Todd. Yes,
for sure.
Me in a cubicle, you in the NFL, same thing. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a grind, baby.
That's right. And speaking of 4th of July traditions, it's almost becoming a tradition in Broncos Country to have a Vance Joseph coach defense. And you, of course, were a defensive captain under Vance. So, I mean, who better to pick the brains of to really get into Vance's defense? I want to talk about some of these key position battles into camp.
Yep.
And, just pick your brain on that scheme. I think the beauty of Vance's scheme is that he's very flexible.
Yes.
So I don't think you're giving away too many secrets, but I'll try my best here. First off, what were your impressions of the defense last year? Like, do they need to replicate that effort that we saw from like week 5 on? Would you be satisfied, or do you feel like there's another gear that needs to be hit in year 2 under VJ?
Man, if they could replicate what they did from week 5 on, I think I'll be very happy with that.
That's how I feel.
The way they were able to stop the run, create turnovers, make big plays, and really win games for the team. I think, especially you talk about a rookie quarterback, you can have a solid defense that keeps him in games, allows him to, have a couple tries at fourth quarter comebacks and really like get his feet wet in what is the NFL in close games, and you win by 3 or you win by 1, like all games are close. I think a defense will really help a young quarterback out in those situations. So, I think, Kansas City Chiefs win on is kind of the defense I would love to see going into next year.
100%. And just so pretty versatile, pretty moldable, multiple also. And the secondary really seemed to step up and kind of become a bit of the identity of this defense. But let's talk about that linebacker position. I think that's the biggest position battle coming into camp.
Yep.
Opposite Alex Singleton, you lose Drew Sanders, so it really becomes a Jonas Griffith, Cody Barton type battle. What are the keys to that Mike linebacker position opposite Alex?
I think in Vance Joseph's defense, you have to kind of be able to do it all, especially if you want to play on third down. Because if you can't, then he'll just very quickly go to a dime package, leaving one linebacker out there and bringing a safety. But I think that the guys in the room can do it all, and I think that they could do it best by kind of a rotation just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Jonas is really, really good on first, second down. He's a bigger body, 240, 250.
Exactly.
Very good at stopping the run, and I think he could be good in coverage versus first and second down concepts. And I think Barton would be really great on third down. If you watch this tape, we did a breakdown on him earlier this year. He just knows where to put his body in coverage. I don't think he's the best in the run game, but he's very, very talented in zone coverage, which will play a lot with Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
So I think Jonas starting on first and second down, bring Barton in on third down, have them both play special teams because they're both good at that. I think it's a great win for the team.
Were you surprised that Josie was playing as much all 3 downs last year and they weren't diversifying as much? And what are the benefits in having less of that rotation? Like how much of a tell is that for opposing offenses then when you go that route that like, oh, Cody's in. This is more their third down look. And that's when you audible to the run. Yeah,
exactly. And so I think Josie was slept on for his ability to cover and also his ability to blitz. If you watched, as the season progressed, Vance started sending the linebackers more and more, and they would get home and they were very, very effective in the rush. And I feel like that played right into what Josie was good at. So keeping those guys on the field at all times, you don't really know what they're doing. They could blitz, they could drop into zone coverage. I think it's really, really great for his defense and, the different things that he wants to throw at offensive coordinators. Now, when you do go to dime package, you do have to be wary of 3rd and, 5 and under because it's a very good option for like, hey, they brought a safety in. Let's go ahead and just check to a run, check to a screen. And it changes the dynamic because you don't want your safety coming in and having to fight off 300-pounders, to stop them for less than 4 yards. So I would say if Barton could get the job done, I'd much rather see them in a 2-linebacker package on third down.
Right. And then I think you touched on a key thing here, which is creating pressure from that linebacker position and an area where you mentioned Josie was probably underrated in a lot of ways.
For sure.
And that's a big part of being a 3-down linebacker is being able to do that as well. In prepping for this, I went back to like a film piece I wrote on Vance Joseph's defense when he was hired as head coach. And when I was analyzing that old Miami defense, I found him using the slot defender and the Mike backer a little more in trying to create pressure up the A-gap and stuff. And that's where I think you probably are missing most. You're missing Drew Sanders the most. And I wonder if Barton or Jonas can fill in that role. And I've always envisioned a Nick Bonito in kind of a guy who's from time to time is athletic enough to drop in coverage, give you enough speed sideline to sideline, but then has that added advantage of being really valuable if then you decide to blitz him in the A-gap. I wonder if that's a little package we could see as well.
I think definitely. I think it's a great addition to what Vance already does. Like third down, he's going to have 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, and you got to pick and choose who's coming and who's dropping into coverage. The good thing about having linebackers out there who cover often is that even if he drops them, he doesn't have to drop them in the zone. He could have you go from the A-gap to covering the tight end man-to-man because you do it a little more often. I think if Nick Bonito's in there or Jonathan Cooper, even though they do drop on the edge a little bit more, it's more like curl flats where they're kind of outside of number 2, kind of covering a zone. You don't have to cover anybody man-to-man. Now, if you have those guys in the middle and you're asking them to go from that position to covering somebody man-to-man, I think it's a harder ask
100%
for an outside linebacker to do.
And that's another pre-snap tell, right? Like if you do that too often, offense is going to catch on and then switch to a man concept, and that's where you could be in trouble. The other intriguing factor in this, I think from what you're saying, you feel good about your options opposite Singleton in coverage downs from that linebacker position to where you can stay with 2 backers on the field and still feel like, okay, we've got some good range of coverage. We've got some guys who are instinctive who can do the job. How much does losing Josie then weaken that run defense, which early in last season was the ultimate Achilles heel for Vance's unit?
I think Josie was the best part of that defense and most consistent part of that defense the entire year. If you watch tape early on, Guys were just out of their gaps. Even Singleton was kind of overrunning things and not making the tackles he normally make. And then Josie was just kind of like dead on, playing Josie Jewell, gapped out football the entire year. So they're definitely missing that guy to be able to kind of get downhill and make plays. And we have to find that in, hopefully, Jonas, because I think his body type is best for it.
And that size is really promising. You know? And
for sure.
The athleticism, you see it there. Like, he's rangy. He's really good in pursuit. It's breaking through the line. It's getting through blocks and really having an impact on the other side of the line of scrimmage consistently.
Yes, it's how physical can you be to get on and off a block quickly to be able to make a play. Like, we know he can run. We know that he has great size. But sometimes guys have a bigger stature and don't know how to use it. I'm not saying he's one of these guys, but I play with a lot of guys who are like weight room heroes. Guys that get benched 315 20 times and just, you think they're going to be monsters in the field, and they turn into these big old pillows like once they hit the field. I don't think that's Jonas, but you definitely have to see him use his size and really go out there and dominate people to the best of his ability, I think.
100%. Did you overlap with Justin Sternad at all?
Yeah, I played with Justin for I think a whole year, and then the training camp the next year.
Big, kind of, in some ways, feels like last chance. You know, I think that the Drew Sanders injury opened the door for Justin to still have a shot at factoring into this linebacker rotation this season. How do you see his chances, and what does he bring that's unique from Jonas and what Barton bring to the table?
I really feel like he's stuck behind Alex. I don't know if he's in the rotation to be the starter alongside him. I think his body type and size is more similar to what Alex, his stature. So I think he's actually a good backup for that will position. And if he ever needs to step in, I think that he's gotten better over the years. And I think, he made the team this year because of his special teams abilities. I think he's a reliable piece on special teams. So hopefully, barring nobody gets injured, he gets a chance to show what he can do as a starting linebacker. I know he had an opportunity to start about 3 years ago. It didn't really all work out. He was a young player, trying to figure it all out. I think he has a better understanding to now. If he ever gets a shot, I think he'll look back a lot better, but ultimately he'll probably be playing Will.
It's a fascinating conversation. I really think this is a big one, and the more I break down these guys, the more I get excited about some of the options that they have at that Mike position. Great stuff. On the other side, we're going to talk about the edge room and all the exciting young talent the Broncos have and how that could really impact Vance's defense in year 2. But first, Todd,
let me tell you guys about Vestibule.
There he is.
If you guys have ever wanted to invest in players, or you felt like it would be a good decision to take a chance on a guy, put some money on him and watch his stock rise, now you can with Vestibule. Vestibule is now an app where you can invest in your favorite players. And first, they have Broncos Baron Browning, who we feel like is going to be a great player. He's definitely in the position to have a big contract next year. We all know how much edge rushers make. He's an edge rusher. He's talented. He's been injured for a few years, but now it feels like he's finally healthy and ready to, get back on his feet and really, really make a push to have a great contract. So Baron's IPO is live right now, and shares are available for purchase. They're limited, so you better hurry up and go get your shares before they're all sold out. Because once they're sold out, I don't know if he'll give up another percentage for you to get in on this, because it's a sweet opportunity. You can go download the Vestibule app now and invest.
Wow, some amazing comments in the Toyota chat. And we also got to tell you about Bet365. Outstanding partner. You sign up if you haven't already using our code DNVR365. I got to figure out some fun action over the 4th. Maybe I'll get into... there's always some fun hot dog eating contest wagers. That's always a good time on the 4th. Yesterday, I was having a ball on the Bet365 app watching some live basketball, a little Slovenia against Croatia, some Nuggets targets. My guys from Italy took care of business against Bahrain, I believe. All sorts of great stuff. They've been an amazing partner. They have DNVR custom bets and all sorts of great odds all through the year. great customer service, and you sign up, $10 minimum deposit. The second you place a $5 bet, and that is settled. Win, lose, or draw, $150 in bonus bets to hit your account. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, Todd. We got into the linebackers. The other part of the linebacking unit that's really key is this edge rush rotation. That's keeps adding young talent. Has Baron Browning, who we just talked about in the vestibule read, who's really coming up on a big contract year. You add JFM as well. And then I think the Broncos with Sean Payton, and probably under VJ's guidance as well, leaning into what we've seen with the 49ers and some other teams who are really valuing having a deep edge rushing rotation.
Yep.
We drop back and pass the ball so much in the modern NFL. On the defensive side, we're countering that by having more personnel, more fresh legs, more guys to just throw your way. What's the keys to kind of that pass rush rotation in Vance's defense, and how do you see this rotation shaking out?
You know, I really think JFM will probably play inside a little bit more.
At least on the first two downs, right?
Even third down, because his ability to get after the passer on third down, I think that's a really valuable position right now. You talk about Chris Jones and Williams and guys in the middle who are getting paid big bucks because they can get to the quarterback from the interior. Now you can't step up in the pocket when Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper come off the edge. So I think he'll play inside. But for me, the outside gets tough because I think Nick Bonito is young, but he flashed a lot last year. And I think Jonathan Cooper is really solid and stout. I think he's probably one of the better first and second down outside linebackers we have.
No doubt.
So they'll definitely be a rotation. But for me, Baron Browning, man, I think he needs as little rotation as, he can tolerate. So if he could play, 50 out of the 70 plays, we want him out there 50 out of the 70 plays. In my opinion, he's the best edge rusher we have. The only thing that's limited him is injuries. But as far as like flashing, bending, getting around the edge, getting after the quarterback, being great in the run game, I think he's the all-around best outside linebacker we have.
Right.
And then Nick Bonito is probably a little bit better on third down than Jonathan Cooper is right now. So probably I feel like Jonathan Cooper will probably start the game, have Nick Bonito come in, maybe third down. They rotate. It's tough because I think Drew Sanders would have been a great addition to this group.
I know.
To be able to play on third down, to be able to blitz, to be able to cover just a little bit like we talked about Vance likes to do. So losing him was a big loss.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I know. And I have always looked at VJ's front as having some hybrid tendencies, to where sometimes I guess it's the weak side edge rusher can almost come down on the line, more hand in the ground, and almost make it feel like a four-man front. With then the strong side outside linebacker almost becomes your Sam in more of a 4-3 type look.
Yep.
So that's where having a bigger guy like Coop on that left side really helps your run defense and your ability to play as more of a hybrid. And then having those guys with that mobility in Nick Bonito and Baron Browning on the opposite side really helps you have a few more answers and versatility on that end, which makes me think, are you too reliant on Jonathan Cooper, especially on the first two downs, against the run defense? And are those other guys ready enough to fill in and be stout enough on the first two downs? And how much are you expecting from Jonah Ellis to be your change of pace for Jonathan Cooper? I think there's, I really like the upside they bring, especially Browning and Bonito as pass rushers on third down. It's those first two downs that you've got some questions to answer.
Yes. I think that maybe we do have to rely on Jonathan Cooper, just like we're relying on Jonas for a second. I think it's very similar. Like, he's just so much better, at stopping the run, and being stout against, big tackles on the outside than some of the other guys. that I think we have to rely on him in that regard. And I think, like you said, a big piece is Jonah Ellis. I don't know how much he'll play starting this season, but I think over the course of the season, he'll probably get more and more opportunities. And if he turns into a guy similar to Baron Browning that can do it all, there's no reason that he couldn't be the starter by the end of the year based on everybody else's contracts and performance. I think that there's a very realistic chance if he comes out and has a phenomenal rookie season that he could definitely be the starter going into next year.
100%. And for Ellis, he's so young. I think a big part of it is just how much good weight is he able to put on in his first couple months in an NFL strength and conditioning program.
Yeah.
Because if you're expecting him to play that role, he's got to be a little bigger than the 245, 250 he was at the combine, right? Do you see Vance's defense as more of a finesse defense? Because these edge rushers do all tend to be on more of the lighter side. Is that what you would say is more the identity of like a Vance Joseph front?
I think a Vance Joseph.
I see you cringing because you don't like finesse. I can just tell.
I don't know if it's finesse.
Yeah, you weren't a finesse backer, so you don't necessarily like that term.
I feel like he wants the front to get after you. So I think in order to get after the quarterback, sometimes you do need the lighter bodies to make it as quick as possible, because he's going to put pressure on the safety. He's going to put pressure on the corner. Like, you may have to play man coverage, but hopefully it's not for too long because we got Von Miller and DeMarcus Murray getting after people, and that's how the defense really works. Now, if you can't get home, then guys are going to be covering for a long time. It's going to look really bad because you need that pressure. And I think we saw when the defense looked its best, there was consistent pressure. And I think that's how he really is successful. So I would say, very get after you defense, not a finesse.
There you go. Yeah, very nice way to say, forget finesse. This is aggressive, get after you, one gapping, fast. We're going to set the tone, right?
Yep.
If you beat us because you were able to read man coverage and get it out quick and make the perfect throw, credit to you.
Yep.
But you're going to win and lose on our terms. We're not waiting for you to screw up. We're going to force you to screw up. And that's why it's so key to have these guys who can really win with that first step, win with that electric bend, win with that edge, and maybe even be a little versatile. Guys like Benito Browning can attack from the A gap. Guys like Ellis and Cooper can, on a stunt, come and attack through the inside, right? Finding those direct paths to the quarterback.
Exactly.
All in the vein of aggressive, fast, direct pass, get there.
100%. That statement kind of reminds me of, I know Vance Joseph wasn't our defensive coordinator during the Super Bowl, but that year it kind of everybody felt like, yes, we have to watch film and know what the offense is going to do, but the offense also has to adjust to what we do. Like, it's not just that we have to find the best ways to stop them. They got to find ways to stop us because we do a lot of things well, and so we always had that mindset like, we're going to show up, we're going to run our defense, and if you guys can stop us, then, kudos to you, but you got to figure this thing out too.
I love it so much. It's the mentality I will live and die with in as many areas of life I can, because I just love that, right?
Yeah.
Like, take charge.
Yep.
You set the tone.
Yep.
Force them. Don't be wishing, I could have, if only this. No, on my terms, and I'll live and die with that.
Exactly.
How's that impact the back end then? More of a man look?
Yeah. A lot more man, and a lot more pressure.
Yeah.
Especially you talk about, one of the best corners in the game in Pat Surtain. I mean, whether it's Riley Moss or Damari, I think it's tough downs, man, because they're going to put the pressure for the ball to come out fast. And the first look is not going to be the Pat side. It's going to be the opposite. And hopefully the rush gets there. But, initially I think all the pressure's on the opposite corner.
Oh, yeah.
Or even J-Mac in the slot. Just trying not to go at Pat, and also trying to be quick with the ball with, the different schemes that Vance runs.
100%. I mean, and I think right now, playing as the starting cornerback opposite Patrick Surtain, it's probably one of the 5 toughest jobs in the whole league on the defensive side of things, And then I remember from studying Vance's defense way back when, he is asking so much out of that slot defender. I don't know how these slot guys don't get paid more, Todd, because so much is asked of them. And yet in some ways, it almost feels like the NFL evaluators think like, oh, yeah, well, there's a lot of guys who can do all those jobs. It doesn't matter. You're asked to be doing like when I'd break down Will Park's film, it was like, damn, Will is doing so much on the field right now. It's crazy. And, he's barely in the league right now.
Yeah, they're super undervalued, man. I think they're almost as undervalued as inside linebackers. Like, you're asked to do it all.
It's so true.
And then it's like they act like they can find guys to replace you, but then they find guys that can't do it all, and they just keep replacing guys instead of holding on to the ones that are good. And it's tough. I mean, you're in the slot, so it's not like you have the sideline to your advantage like you would if you're outside.
Right.
These guys run a plethora of routes. They can go vertical, they can go left, they can go right, they can run. They run everything they do from the outside, but they now have to do it in the interior. And then on top of that, you're asked to blitz effectively. You know what I'm saying? You're asked to cover tight ends sometimes because of where you're positioned. Like, I think it's the most. It's a different job every single down, and you have to step up to the plate. You can never pass on the job, and you can never ask somebody else to take. You just got to do the work. But it's super undervalued. Super undervalued.
100%. To wrap up this edge rotation conversation, who do you think leads the team in sacks next year?
I mean, if he's healthy, I think it's Baron Browning. I think he is the most talented natural edge rusher they have. He can work on some things within his game, but naturally the way he's built, and then also like the way he can bend around the corner, and then he's also physical on top of that. I think he's naturally the best and most gifted pass rusher we have right now.
Yeah, there were some stretches in 22 where I was just like, whoa, Baron's looking like the flashes are that of a superstar edge rusher. He can just string that together with some good health.
Yep.
Sky's the limit, no doubt about it. Okay, and on the other side, we will be talking about the run defense, getting into how this scheme, all the exciting stuff we've talked about on cover downs and what have you, translates to the run defense and how the Broncos can stay consistent on that end. But first, Todd, our good friends at Red Hawk Roofing.
Yeah, shout out to Red Hawk Roofing. The best roofers in Denver have joined the DNVR team. And the roof is the most important part of the house. I mean, you can lose a wall or two, but you can't have a faulty roof. You can't have a leaky roof. You need your roof to be in tip-top shape to protect you from hail, snow, the sun. We get all 4 seasons here in Denver, so your roof is definitely important. And Red Hawk Roofing, they use quality materials. They have decades of experience. They have a quick response time, and they also offer a free, no-obligation roof and property inspection, a free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. You don't want to miss out, and you want to go check them out. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921 and tell them DNVR sent you.
Yeah, true homies at Red Hawk Roofing and true homies at Shady Rays. I love Shady Rays so much. I think between myself and the wife, we have 6 pairs at home. They are just phenomenal. I love all the styles they have. The quality is outstanding. The quality of the lenses is awesome. You can actually go outside in this high altitude Denver sun and not be blinded. And then so many styles. The glasses, you can feel them. They're good quality. You drop them, they don't just shatter on you. They're great glass. They'll stand tough if I forget them in the car, baking in the sun for several days. And all of that, like high quality sunglasses at a fraction of the cost of some designer glasses you would find. And on top of that, use our code right there on the screen, 35% off. They have amazing deals, styles, and quality. And on top of that, they've got great customer service. Website's super easy to use, and you're supporting us. So check them out exclusively for our listeners. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code DNVR for 30% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for themselves. The Shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Next time we do this read, it's going to be 500,000. And next thing you know, it's going to be 1 billion. Get in early and, be like me. Get in on Shady Rays. My pair's right here. Look at that. Okay, Todd. Also, if you're an Apple Podcast listener, please turn on those downloads so you don't miss any of our new pods. You're getting those notifications soon enough. It's camp season, all the great updates, how Bo and the rest of the Broncos are doing. You don't want to miss it. You want to stay tuned all football season. Football really feels like it's around the corner, Todd. It's the long summer's over.
Yeah, it's almost over. I mean, they start camp in less than 20 days. So, yeah, it's really rolling.
Can you believe it? Yeah, as I alluded to, now it's the run defense. Keys to the run defense in a Vance Joseph defense.
Just do your job.
Yeah.
Everybody just do your job. It's not a time. You get cute and you get finessey, I guess you could say, on third down.
The episode.
First and second down, man, just do your job. Everybody stay in your gap. D lineman, if you get a double team, stay in the double team. Don't try to spin out and make some crazy play. If you're on the edge, just secure the edge. Everybody has a gap. Everybody play their gap and will live to fight another day. And I think it's very simple. Just keep it simple. I think we hate talking about the Miami game, but we got to bring it up anytime we talk about run defense. If you watch the game, there are guys doing other people's job every single play. And there's guys making mental errors every single play. And that's what led to them rushing for like 300 yards. It wasn't that the scheme was bad. It's just that guys were not doing their job. So it's easy to be good as long as you do your job. And that's it, man. Keep it simple.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You want to play fast. You want to play aggressive. You just gotta do the simple things. You gotta stick to your assignments, or it's gonna look ugly really
ugly.
Quick. How do you feel about the depth that's been added on the defensive front? Because I think that was also a key. Was they were probably a bit too reliant on DJ Jones. It was weird seeing Zach Allen, who was a guy who played for Vance most recently than anyone else, have his early season struggles, then figure some things out. But they've added some quality depth behind them, some good veteran defenders who especially I feel like guys like Roach and Angelo, I'm blanking on the last name, brought in for, really helping on those rundowns.
Yeah, I think that this is the first time in a long time they have, a full 2 rotations of starters in the NFL.
Great point.
I think, all 4 of those guys could start on probably any team in the NFL. They're all that talented. So I think it's going to be huge for the run defense and also for the linebackers. I mean, if their double teams are happening all game long, like you can't come off because, Roach will make the play or Jones will make the play. Like, it'll allow, Singleton to run sideline to sideline, which he does so well, and really allows them to be unblocked and make more and more plays. So I think it was a huge addition for them to, beef up kind of the front 4.
100%. Because I feel like last year when you're watching it, to more of the layman eye, not someone who's played, who understands the scheme intimately like you would, it seemed like, the back 7 is letting the run defense down. But so much of that starts with the front 3.
For sure.
And those guys, I think you were a bit limited. And now with JFM, and Roach and Angelo Blackson, and even Elijah Garcia, who I've talked about with Hank in the office, and we're both kind of excited about. Now you have a real defensive rotation. And, we talk about it in the rundown, but what does that do for you on nickel downs as well, where you're playing that even front, and now you have more of a rotation of guys on the interior who can get after it or who can clog gaps and take up 2 offensive linemen to then free up those guys on the edge to really attack those one-on-ones. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be really beneficial. And these guys are so solid, but they're also very athletic. Nobody's a big, slow guy. Like, everybody is, has good size, but they're also very athletic. So this will help, like you're talking about on third down. If you decide to run on 3rd and 4, we should be pretty solid there. If you decide to pass, we'll have a good pass rush. If you decide to run a screen, I think these guys are big enough and fast enough to get off the ball, recognize screen, and try to make a play. I think we saw DJ Jones do that a couple times last year and tackle screens in the backfield. Now you added, 3 more guys that are big and athletic that can kind of hunt down the ball in the same way. It's beneficial for them, man. I think I had great D linemen to play in front of me my entire career, but I would not mind playing behind this bunch right now.
Yeah, there's maybe not a marquee name, but 6 really solid NFL guys who would be on the 53 of just about any team.
For sure.
And as you're saying, most of the 6 would be starters on most fronts there.
Yeah, and I think they're guys that either to injury or not enough opportunity just haven't had the time to make a name for themselves. But go watch Roach's film for the Saints. Go watch JFM's film, and you'll be like, oh, how did we even get this guy for this price tag? Like, these are pretty talented guys, and I think they're just waiting to have a chance.
Yeah, no, JFM to me is truly a key addition that flew under the radar because of the timing when it happened. But yeah, you watch him at the Jets and how he broke out, how much of an impact he was having down in, down out.
Yep.
It's really impressive and such a great combination of size, length, pause, and athleticism.
Nice.
I'm learning slowly but surely. So no, I think he's really the key. And I did feel like last year they were a little light on the edges, and I think a guy like JFM, Cooper, another year, all that's going to really help you, as well as Benito and Browning, just, having more years in the system, more years in the program, getting bigger and growing into their bodies. I think that's going to be crucial here as well. And I also think, as much as we've talked about Vance, this is where you feel a bit more of that identity from Parcells, Parcells, from Sean Payton being a Parcells disciple and, building the defense inside out, building everything inside out, and really having that depth, that size, and guys who can really, build. If your philosophy is building inside out, part of that is you saying we're making the run a priority on both sides of the ball. And I think you're feeling that identity as well. So it'll be interesting, that marriage of Vance's scheme to more of Sean's overall philosophy, I think also comes into play with the defensive front here. Yeah.
I'm trying to think back to all my years with Vance, and we had big boys up front. Different bodies, though, like you said.
Yeah.
I think Wolf is bigger than Zach Allen, but it feels more like a Zach Allen than a DJ Jones.
Yes.
So maybe just a little bit different. Now I feel like they're getting solid, like
exactly,
not pot roast, but in that wheelhouse guys. So it'll be a good mesh of the two ideologies for sure.
100%. And is Vance kind of mixing and matching with 2 gapping and 1 gapping? How does he like to attack that? We talked about it a little bit in the last segment.
He likes the 1 gap. If you see somebody 2 gap, they're probably doing somebody else's job. And that's what, going back to just keeping it simple and vanilla, and everybody, playing well and fast. I think that's if I was ever a defensive coordinator, I would make it very, very simple, and just in practice, guys will see everything that you possibly can, so we know how to defend it. That way I'm not, working on a 2-gap scheme, and all of a sudden they come out and run this counter we've never seen, and it looks crazy. I'd rather just keep it vanilla and show you everything that you could possibly expect from offenses, so you know how to handle it. And I think that's what works best. Even for us when we won the Super Bowl, like I always say on the show, we ran 5 plays. We had great talent, of course, but we ran 5 plays, and we knew how to defend everything from the year before, and also training camp. There was nothing that you could show us that we hadn't already seen versus the defense we ran, because we only ran a few. So when we got it, it was it felt easier, felt lighter.
Well, that front is the most of all the units on the defense. The D line, specifically the front three and the guys behind them, is the most veteran group.
Yes.
So that's where I think you need to expect the guys who are a bit more dialed in, know what to expect, have seen it all, and can kind of lead the defense from an IQ standpoint in that sense. Who's going to be wearing the red dot? Who's going to be calling the defense?
Oh, I don't think Alex has ever done it. Maybe he did it 1 year in Philly.
Yeah, I'm guessing he hasn't before either.
Yeah, but I feel like I think he'll be a every down linebacker. Usually they'll give it to a safety if it's a linebacker's probably coming off on third down, but there should be no reason for him to come off the field. I think Jones is new in the back end.
Yep.
I think PJ's first year starting, probably not either one of those guys. Jonas is young. Pat is too far away.
Has to be out.
I think it has to be.
The only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Interesting. Let's start talking some cornerback 2 here. We talked a little bit in the last segment how I think that's one of the toughest jobs in probably all of defensive football just because you get picked on a lot. So you got to really have that dog in you if you are going to play opposite Pat Surtain. I just think you got to have a short memory,
Yep.
It's just one of those jobs where it's like, hey, they're going to go after you a bunch. Doesn't matter if you're going to be beat sometimes. It just comes with the territory. Live to fight another day because you never know. Like the next pass attempt might be the one where you turn this game around for us.
Yeah. That's a trait of good cornerbacks, is short-term memory loss. You just forget it because if you let that affect the next play, then the next play, then now all of a sudden you strung together 5 bad plays instead of just the one.
Exactly.
So you got to let it go and just keep. I think
gotta compartmentalize.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They used to tell us all the time, like they get paid too. You know what I'm saying? They're good players too.
Straight.
They're gonna make some plays every now and then. Just keep playing. And hope that you make more plays at the end of the day. But even like when we would play the Chiefs, they're like, okay, Travis is gonna get some catches. Like, we're probably not gonna hold him to 0 catches. Just limit, tackle the catch and live to play another down and let's keep going.
Exactly. So given that job description, is that a Levi Wallace type deal? Levi's an interesting guy. Love a guy who was able to walk on at Alabama, turn himself into a starter, get drafted as a top 100 guy, fall into Nick Saban's good graces. And, he's had some moments in the NFL. He's also had some moments where he's been more of a run-of-the-mill corner, right? But he's got the size. He's got that experience. He's got the speed. He checks off a lot of boxes for you.
I think so, too. And he's a veteran, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I think we've had a couple of veteran corners over the past couple of years, but I feel like in this position right now, I know Riley Moss is at the top of a lot of people's leaderboards for who they want to step in.
Yep.
Which if he can make the jump to be a full-time corner, I feel like that would be awesome. But the amount of pressure that comes with this situation and work, like you're going to get work. Don't think you're not getting targeted. You can't think that you're not.
There's no
getting
doubt
work.
about it. There's
you're
no mystery about this one. You are getting work no matter what.
Exactly.
Yes.
And sometimes I think that like a veteran's mindset is more ready for that work and like ready to have a short-term memory as opposed to a young guy getting his first year starting and he's just getting like 7 targets a game, 8 like that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? You got to like let go of whatever happened on Sunday and maybe wipe your brain, come back on a Thursday night. You got to do it again. 8-9 targets. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. So maybe for this specific situation, maybe like a veteran corner would be better in this starting role.
Yeah, and then Riley has the really interesting transition of coming from a zone-heavy scheme at Iowa, not playing a ton as a rookie, and how ready is he going to be? Because it's not just playing opposite Pat Surtain, it's playing opposite Pat Surtain in a man-heavy scheme.
Yep.
Where you're trying to force it out. Like, you're living on an island. That's the gamble we're taking, is like that whole equation, this whole game plan comes down to you, CB2, holding down the fort for like 3 seconds.
Exactly.
Because if you can't do that, all these bets we're making on the backside and the pass rush on the front, it's all for nothing. Yeah.
And I think that's very key because not every man corner can play zone, not every zone corner can play man. I love to talk about Nnamdi Asomugha. He was a all-pro, maybe the best corner in the league.
Right.
Then he leaves and goes to the Raiders, starts playing zone, and starts playing man, just starts getting cooked. And everybody's like, what happened? Well, it was the scheme change.
The scheme.
And, you got to be able to play in a scheme that works best for you.
Yeah.
So we have to see if he can cover, even if it's for 4 seconds. Like, man-to-man is not easy.
No.
And you're backpedaling. You have to have good eyes, and you have to be clean, good hands. And you can't get there too early because that's a flag.
Right.
Can't get there too late because then that's a missed tackle.
Yeah.
It's a tough position to play.
Well, and I remember Chris Harris Jr. in his prime when he was playing with you in an interview talking about how key the eyes are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you just need to have a feel. So much is going on as a man corner.
Yep.
Where it has to be lined up. Yeah, and you just got to kind of feel that guy on your backside there.
Whoa.
Oh, no. I walked right into that, too.
Oh,
Todd
man.
was warning me with his eyes.
I don't know if I heard that man technique before.
That's so true. That's right. I'm inventing techniques right now. So, yeah, general, let's do 2 things, Todd.
Okay.
General expectations for this defense. Better or worse than what we saw in the final, 12 weeks last year? Or the same?
Than what we saw in the final 12 weeks,
Yeah.
I think they perform similarly, but over the course of the whole season. I think if they do that over the course of the whole season, they're a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
But
Top
I think,
10, certainly.
For sure. So I think over the course of the entire year, I mean, you take out that Miami game, maybe one more game, they have a phenomenal season last year. So I think they'll be able to put it together. For a lot of guys, the second year in the system is much better than the first.
Big time.
So we have a lot of guys returning. So I think this will be a better year for them all the way around, similar to the last 12 games this season.
That'd be huge because I really agree. I think that's a borderline top 5 unit in the league, and it's made up of so many young guys. What that means for those young guys, having another season of feeling that kind of success and that good of a unit would be massive. And there's not a ton of changes except for Justin Simmons, and you're really going to see how many errors was Justin as that last line of defense, that deep safety. How much was he covering up for, and how much is Brandon Jones making up for? We talked about how it's crazy how undervalued slot defenders are, and they're being asked to do so much. This offseason has been the offseason of undervaluing safeties. All the guys who are top paid, basically out of jobs, or like those big contracts they had signed are no more, and we're resetting the market in some ways, and we're really going to find out, as it pertains to Vance Joseph's scheme, how much that last line of defense really matters.
It's so crazy because I didn't expect the safety market to take a turn like this.
Be reset, I know.
Because they were getting paid more and more every year. They're actually on the uptrend, and they were making good money, and I thought rightfully so. But was it Poyer who took the small deal?
Right.
And it kind of messed up the market. So, I mean, they're kind of going through a reset now to where everybody's kind of got to figure out what I'm worth. Because, we talk about on the show how, like, the NFL is slotted. So, if you're the 3rd best corner, you got to be making less than the first 2, but you got to be making more than the 5th. But now, if the 2nd best corner in the league takes, like, a $3 million deal, like, then everybody's like, all right, we'll give you guys less than 3. But you're like, no, like, he just took a bad deal. Like, everybody else needs to be paid.
Right.
So the league is kind of adjusting to that right now.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it is, in the modern NFL, you'd be surprised that the deep safety who controls so much, I mean, he has to cover so much of the field, especially when there was like the cover 3 boom, and Earl Thomas has to like cover so much between the sidelines because his corners are just pressing and playing that, basically it's looks like man, but it's just a deep sideline zone.
Exactly.
And now we're regressing on that. It's pretty, but so I agree. I think they could be even better, but to me, a lot of that does come down to Brandon Jones and being able to maintain health, especially at that edge rusher unit. I need a healthy Baron Browning.
I do. We do. Without a doubt.
Who do you think wins? So now let's go predictions. Who wins that cornerback 2 job?
Oh man,
I know. Yeah. I think I'm leaning Levi Wallace.
You think Levi Wallace?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What'd you say?
DeMar?
DeMar's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. DeMar's an interesting one. He's come around.
Yeah. And he had some good times last year. I think it's just like it's a heavy task for a full year.
100%. And the linebacker unit, your prediction is Griffith, first 2 downs.
Yep.
Cody Barton, 3rd down.
Yep.
Which I think you could do worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually think that's a pretty solid rotation right there.
And then you both get both of them on special teams, too.
Yeah.
Which they both do well at. So,
yep.
Win-win.
And you gave us your prediction as Baron Browning leads the team in sacks as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not bad. I love this. Love getting into Vance Joseph's scheme. Love talking about all this stuff. Do I see we've got a couple questions there? Alyssa will hit super chats before we head out. And, of course, great comment. If you're watching on X, head on over to YouTube. Join the Toyota chat. Leave us a thumbs up. Turn on the notifications. Do all that fun stuff. And here from Chad, Todd, is JL Skinner going to get any playing time?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think he's stuck behind Brandon Jones right now. Mm-hmm. That other safety position is PJ Locks, followed by Caden Stearns.
Right.
And so
you almost wonder, does JL play into this conversation with Cody Barton as maybe a 3rd down backer alternative?
Is he big enough to play backer?
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
He plays like it,
But we do have to talk about who would be their... Well, no, I think if they go dime, we have to talk about who will be the dime backer.
Yeah, that's true. And do you go with the 3 safety dime package where JL could be an intriguing option?
Mm-hmm. That's what they usually do.
Right.
But I probably, if they do that, and if they do that, they'll probably just put PJ Lock in the box, put Caden Stearns back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Skinner's got an important offseason in camp because he's got to fight his way through some of that depth.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Turner Yell, I know he hasn't always looked the best, but that guy's versatile and kind of feels like, he's like a cat with 9 lives. Like, he's hard to die. So don't discount Turner Yell.
They can't kill him.
That's right. That's exactly right. Ivan Cruz on the Toyota chat asking, Riley as my corner might have a little extra dog in him, though. Wow. I don't
Hey. He's definitely a dog.
How we're making that connection. He is a dog. If you've played at Iowa, you are a dog. As a corner, you're just used to run defending and playing in the cold, you know. It's tougher. You seem unconvinced, Todd.
No, I was just thinking about the Iowa players, and like most of the guys I've played with, I've seen corners, linebackers, O-linemen, tight ends. They usually are they are dogs.
It's true. We've got a few of those. You know, Cody Barton from Utah, Jonas Griffith, Indiana State, Larry Bird's alma mater. Mm-hmm. So, it's tough conditions. It's tough conditions. Now, you know about that with Sacramento State.
Man.
Huh? How could I do it to him as we end this beautiful show? Happy 4th of July to you all. And, thinking about Zach and Hank with their extra long break. Thankful for you all. Thankful to have this combo with you, Todd. This was a blast. Thank you to Alyssa on the sticks producing our show. And, tune in Monday, and you guys have a pre-recorded for Friday, I guess.
Yes, sir.
So there you go. Don't miss that one on our YouTube channel. Turn on the notifications and, subscribe to the channel. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.